Okay, so I've just been fiddling with the camera because it's a horror game, so we need to get close in behind this character and zombies down there. So the reason we want to get close in is because we want to limit the player view. So the point is that it's not to do with jump scares, it's to do with the fact that as humans we've got limited reaction times if something if you have a very limited view code, which is why you've always got torchlight and such like in horror games, because things can suddenly appear and you've got a much more limited reaction time than you would have if they were miles away. So for instance, Dead Space, when you're shooting, it lowers your cone of vision even more when you go to targeting mode, which means that your vision is even more obfuscated or even more limited, so creating more tension as to what's around you. Anyway, I'm going to shut up and talk about the camera. So the camera, it doesn't really matter where you put it. I've just been reading up on it because it was mildly irritating me. So you've got your multi-purpose camera rig, so you don't actually need to attach this to the player. You with the AutoCam script on, you just drop the third-person controller in. Also, the third person is tagged as player, but you don't need to worry about that. So the main thing is, if you look at the camera rig documentation in the same folder in the sample standard assets, I should say. So these camera guidelines here, this tells you exactly what you should be doing, and this is the important part of that. So camera rig, so if you adjust the camera rig, the position will move towards the target. Don't fully understand what that one means. So these are the two important ones with regards to positioning your camera. So the pivot, which is here, this is part of the camera rig. If you adjust the pivot, it will adjust the Y position for height, X position for horizontal offset. So this is the height above your character, and your camera here, which corresponds to this adjusts the distance away from the target. So if you adjust the Y position on your pivot and your Z position on your camera, you should be able to get a decent distance away from your character. So after a fair bit of fiddling, I've put the position at 2, and that's the height above the character, and on the main camera I've put the Z at 2, which is the distance from the camera. So quite a lot of fiddling. One of the things you do need to do is a lot of fiddling down here. Turn on your protect camera from wall, clip script, auto target player obviously. I mean, I put in a turn speed at 100. This is a bit like the camera on the Evil Within. It's quite finicky, but if you look at so it's basically turning, the camera's turning with the player, but it's got a delay on it, which you don't really want. So I don't know why that's happening. It might be something to do with these values down here. But again, for a horror game, if the camera's not following you one-to-one, then that in itself is going to cause anxiety, but obviously you don't want to use bad functionality as part of the fear of your horror game. But anyway, so you've got this nice barrier between you and zombie fella, so he's still not scary because he doesn't really pose a threat, and you can see him from miles away. So let's adjust that. See, that is really irritating. So I'll have a fiddle with that, but at least we've got it close in behind him using the values as specified again in the camera guidelines document. Okay,